England now because for once I'm taking part in a documentary certificate course at the London Film Academy, and on the other hand I also wanted to do some research about my ancestor, my great-grandfather Heinrich Beck, who had been a big inventor in the beginning of the 20th century and had invented a very strong searchlight that was later on used on all US Navy ships during the First World War. The searchlight could illuminate a whole battlefield. It could cast light up to 200 miles in front of it. Up to then, navies and armies used searchlights, but the light they projected was often not strong enough to illuminate the full fire range of the new cannons.
Now the purpose was to illuminate a target so that the rangefinders, which were optical, could be used, and the general outline was shown. As a sort of secondary effect, the light was blinding the people who were looking at it. So it had a dual purpose, really, so that the gunners had a good chance to fire.
In the battlefield or at sea, a searchlight made the difference between life and death. My great-grandfather has been written out of history. Other people stole the credit for his invention, and historians have still not redressed the balance. I've done a lot of research, and in fact he sold this searchlight to General Electric, and they, like most Americans do, I've heard that from many historians as well, they try to always write hero stories, and so it's quite natural for them to kind of neglect the role he played and try to convey the image that if it has been an original GE invention. So I looked up many GE publications and I never found any, not even his name mentioned. To make matters worse, an American inventor called Elmer Sperry stole the technical drawings for the searchlight and used them to build a copy, claiming it as his own. There have been many articles also in special magazines where it has been acknowledged that Mr. Sperry did in fact copy it. And
from your grandfather,
yeah,
great-grandfather.
Yeah, but of course, he was a big hero, American hero, so the Americans were eager to portray him as a true American inventive spirit. This was the great injustice. My family has been trying to set records straight for the last 3 generations. My father is himself an inventor. It has been inspired by his inventions, his patents. He himself now is in the lighting business.
It is very common that inventors don't get credit for their work, especially when their invention is no longer used. The searchlights were not used anymore because at the end of World War II the radar development came into use.
But the lamp of the searchlight was used in film studios for illuminating the scenes and for projecting the new color films. 100 years ago, Heinrich Beck founded an institute in Meiningen for his searchlight development. In 1989, after the fall of the Berlin Wall, we reclaimed it and continued his work.
I would like to tell him that the house which he built 100 years ago is still in use as a laboratory for light developments such as searchlights with LEDs.
In my research, I stumbled across a document in which my great-grandfather wrote, "What does it feel like inside a human being who has invested his whole life in the realization of an idea and who discovers that all his sacrifices were in vain?" I would answer him by saying, the spirit of the independent inventor is more important than ever, and what endures are ideas and inspirations.